Hello lifers, PJ here and welcome back to Midlife Models. In this episode of From Ruined to Refreshed, we're going to be looking at a Ford Capri. This is a Matchbox Super Kings Mark II, made in England, K59. Now, I had two of these in my earlier years. I had a red 1300 and a burgundy 2 litre S. So we're going to be revamping this one. So I'm going to get the chassis off by drilling off the flanges of the rivets, drilling the post holes, and then tapping them ready for a bolt. So I'll catch up with you when that's done. Welcome back, folks. As you can see, the Capri Mark II has been disassembled without too much aggravation. I've removed the plastic window panel from the back that was held in with two rivets, and we'll probably end up super gluing that back. The interior roof and windscreen just popped out. There's no problem there. The interior seats in pretty good condition. Going to be cleaning that up with some detergent. We've got the front and back bumpers. They're covered in a chrome lacquer, so we'll be looking at that. The body, the chassis isn't in too bad a condition, although what I'm probably going to end up doing is just using paint stripper on the underside and then respraying it with a matte black. The body, we're going to be changing the colour on that to reflect the one that I used to have. So I've got a colour that I'm going to go with. We're going to be dropping this obviously in some caustic soda to remove the paint. I've yet to tap and drill the post holes, but that'll be done next. We can't remove the boot lid because of how it's constructed inside, so we'll do it all in one go, and just be careful when we're spraying it to not cause too many drips. So there we go, disassembly is complete. Welcome to the new display table. As you can see, it's motorised by my hand. But it looks alright, does the job. There you go. So we'll catch you when catch up with you when we've done a bit more. Cheers. Okay, welcome back, lifers. As you can see from our turntable, the Capri body has been stripped of its paint back to base metal. It's ready for priming. This was a bigger job than I thought. Confession time. I put this in a glass jar, as I normally do. I then added the boiling water and the jar cracked. So I had to find an alternative for removing the paint. So I found an old baking tin, an old one that had been used in the oven. I put the body of the Capri in the tin. I put the boiling water and the caustic soda in there, and it acted more on the remnants of material on the baking tin than it did on the Capri. So I had to clean the tin using caustic soda several times. So I did that, put this back in, and it still didn't clear all of the paint. It was only when the tin was fairly clean that the caustic soda started to react on the body of the car, and as I say, it didn't remove all of the paint. So I then took it out and put it into a plastic tub and covered it in paint stripper, which eventually did the job, using a wire brush to clean off the remnants of the paint. You'll notice that the chassis is missing. That's with the body painting team in the shed. It's been primed and will be matte blacked tomorrow. The wheels and all the plastic parts have been washed in detergent. The wheels will get a coat of black wash. The plastic window interiors will be cleaned up using some K2 lamp doctor polish. And it's at this stage I want to give a massive shout out to Bob Willis to Corgi Restorations. I asked a question. As I say, this community is brilliant. I've reached out to 3 other YouTubers now with questions, and they've been good enough to answer. And my question to Bob was, if you've got these plastic parts that have got this chrome lacquer, as you can see from this one, some of the chrome is missing from the bumper. And I said to Bob, what method do you use for removing this existing chrome lacquer? And Bob was good enough to say that he either uses a very fine emery cloth to clean off the part, or put it in some cold caustic soda as opposed to using boiling water. And I can only assume that using the cold caustic soda has a less intensive reaction on the plastic part than it does on the metal part. So we'll probably end up giving that a go. I want to get this back to chrome. As you can see, possibly this even has a registration number on it, Y0L235P. We'll see if that is still standing out when it's been tidied up, sprayed and recoated with chrome. I have a problem with these chrome pens, these liquid chrome pens. This is a Molotow 1mm chrome pens. I've purchased 2 of these from eBay, from an eBay seller, and both of these have leaked. So I'm almost tempted to take the liquid out and put it into a small plastic jar, like a little paint jar, and use a paintbrush. But we'll see. I'm still not convinced about these pens. I've seen them used, and I've seen them used well. I'm not saying that they're a bad product. It may be that the supplier I've been getting them off has got an old batch. They've all come from the same batch number. I don't know. I'm not convinced about these pens yet. It's going to take me a while for it to change my mind. But we'll have another go with it. What I don't want to do is, I found the colour of the paint that I want to use on this. I've used it on another model. I'm working on a Ferrari 512 BB in the background. It's a newer Matchbox Specials version with a plastic chassis. However, it had been, how can I put it, rejuvenated by a child who'd coloured it with a felt tip pen and stickers. I've got it back to a base colour, which I'm quite happy with, and I'm going to be using that same paint on here. As has been mentioned by other YouTubers, you can spend a fortune on various little pots of paint and airbrushes to do these models. However, you can also go to pound shops and get basic colours like red, green, blue, black gloss, white gloss, matte black, and it saves you a fortune. I picked 4 tins up today, a black, a green, a blue and a red, and they were $4.99 each, and they were large tins, large rattle cans, and that was from a DIY discount store. As I say, I tried one of the colours on the Ferrari, and I was blown away. And I tried it on the Ferrari as a test piece before trying it on this piece, and I was quite pleased with it. What I will say is I'm always going to stand by or stick with the Tamiya grey light primer. It's never let me down so far. I'm really impressed with that. I'm not saying that Tamiya make bad products, but they are expensive products if you need to keep buying lots and lots of them. So yes, I'll be sticking with the Tamiya light grey primer, but I've found another spray paint that I'll show you later on in the video as part of the reveal once I've sprayed this. The next thing I'll show you is once this has been primed, so we can have a look at that. We'll black wash the tyres. I've also knocked everything on the floor. I've also tapped the posts, and I've got the bolts for that. But the chassis, which I haven't got here, I've decided to go with some M3 washers, which I need to pick up tomorrow, just to give the head of the bolt something more to bite to. I don't want it to go through the hole that's been drilled when we remove the flange of the remove the flange of the rivet that was going into the post. So we'll see how that works out. So tomorrow's another day. We'll be doing some more on this Capri. My intention is to respray the interior black. I've never seen a red interior for a Capri. I want to make it more like the one that I had. So we'll be doing a bit of work on the interior. We need to polish up the plastic, which we'll do. Need to tyre wash, wash the black tyre wash these wheels, which we'll do. We'll see how we go on with either stripping or using some emery cloth and then respraying with matte black and the Molotow chrome. We'll see how we go on with that, and I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, so a bit of an update on the Capri from yesterday, and what I've done is to take the chassis prime it and then spray it matte black. I've taken the interior, the seats, and also sprayed that matte black. The chassis, sorry, the body has been painted red. This was the colour of the car that I had in my youth, or one of them. And this paint colour is, I'm loving this paint colour, I have to be honest. So, I've also sourced a set of alloys off a donor vehicle. I think they're going to look pretty smart when they're on. So what we've got left to do is to retreat these plastic parts with chrome, and then polish up the interior plastic windows. I'm going to be trying to use this K2 lamp doctor, and then hopefully we should be at a point where we're close to reassembly. I think I've already mentioned, drilled out the post holes and tapped them. I also had washers in case the bolts go through the holes in the chassis. May have to source some bigger headed bolts at some point, but so it might be a temporary fastening, but we'll have a look at that when we get round to it. So there we go, folks. That's how far we've got. It's started to come on and look pretty good, and then I'll get back to you shortly with the next phase. Cheers. Welcome back, folks. This is a quick update. I did mention in the previous clip that I was going to try a method that Bob Willis had recommended, which was to use some emery cloth to rub down plastic parts that needed chrome removing, or use caustic soda in a cold water bath. However, what I have found since then is I did a bit of YouTube searching, as I do with a lot of the things that I want to learn how to do, and I just typed in removing chrome from plastic, and there was a guy, an American guy, who said use something called Super Clean, and doing a bit of delving and digging. We don't have that in the UK, but that one thing led to another, and it basically I basically found out that you can use bleach. Now, I picked this bottle of bleach up not for the purpose of this hobby. It's just, you know, your standard bathroom toilet cleaners type bleach. This is W5, 2 litres, and I got it from Lidl. Probably cost me a couple of quid. So going back to earlier in this video, you'll see that I had some chrome pieces on display on the turntable, and this is what one of those chrome pieces looks like now. It is completely stripped after leaving it in this bleach bath for about 20 minutes. It hasn't affected the plastic. I can still read the YOL235P registration, and the plastic doesn't feel, in fact it looks as good as new, pre chrome lacquering. So all I did was to put it, I've got the cap here off of a rattle can, and I filled it with this bleach solution. Put both parts in there. There's a bit of a film, you can see there's a bit of a film on there now. This is obviously the chrome that's come off. And you can see, if I can grab hold of it, what the easiest thing to do. But it's pretty much stripped everything off. Stunned and amazed. I'm amazed and stunned. And all I did was just, swirl this around every couple of minutes. I think there's a bit of chrome left on the grill, but I'm pretty sure if I leave this for another hour, because it hasn't done anything to the plastic, that it will remove the rest of the chrome. So there you go. A quick update. I did say that if I did find any further hints and tips, that I would share them. So there you go. I'm going to be using this method. Just excuse me a minute. I'll just retrieve my work in progress box. So I've got a John Player Special that has several of these plastic parts that have been covered in a chrome lacquer. They belong to my long-time project, long-time ongoing project, which is a Formula 1 Lotus JPS. But the point being is, I'm going to be now trying this same method to clear the chrome off these pieces. Initially, I was still learning how to go about doing things, and I covered these with a Sharpie, a gold metallic Sharpie. So what I'm going to do now is give these pieces this bleach bath treatment, and then what I will do is to either spray them matte black or use the Tamiya light grey primer, and then obviously this piece will be re-chromed, but I can now re-chrome it where I want to chrome it, so that I can highlight with possibly an enamel the lights and indicators, which were all chromed over before. I can even do something slightly different with the registration plate. So as I say, yeah, I'm going to try these JPS pieces, and I have got a standby model. I have got a donor model if it all goes pear-shaped. So there you go. Removing chrome using bleach. Who would have thought it? Probably a lot of people, but it's new to me. I'm happy with the result, and happy to pass it on. I'll catch you later. Welcome back, folks. An update on the Capri and what we've done to date. We'll start off with the chassis. As you can see, the new alleys have been fitted. Looking pretty good, looking pretty sweet. The interior plastic windows have been polished and fitted, and I've used a bit of Tamiya extra thin cement from my other modelling hobby, plastic models, plastic airfix models, and just dropped a bit in around these lugs. It dries clear, so that's come out really well. The glass, I dropped in some floor polish, that's come up nice and clean. So we'll just drop that over, and what we're going to do is a test fit. We'll drop in the newly painted chassis, interior, re-silvered. I was going to go with chrome on these pieces, but I found a rattle can of silver, and I just think it looks more late 70s, early 80s colour for this model. And again, it's just a preference for me. This isn't a restoration for reselling or something of that lot, or something like that. It's just for my own satisfaction. I've got that in upside down. Yes, I think I have. So there's the rear and front bumpers fitted. We'll drop in the chassis. Now, I did get, I'm just going to leave this on the top gently, I did get some M3 washers. I don't have them to hand, but what I did find out once I picked them up, that the M3 washers were too big to fit in this moulded section. So I've had to order some M2 washers. They're going to take a while to come, unfortunately. I haven't as yet touched up the bumpers, the headlights, which I intend to do once the model's secure. But I hope you can kind of see the effects I'm going for. It's fitted nicely together, tapped and ready for bolts. I've got the bolts already. I'm just waiting for the washers, and I'm pretty pleased with that. So I did mention in an earlier clip about the removing of chrome lacquer from these plastic parts and how I would try it on a John Player special Formula 1 car I've got. And here is that very model. So these plastic parts have all been stripped back using bleach. I had to leave it for a couple of hours to do what I needed it to do, and then I've sprayed it, primed it, and then resprayed it with a gold paint that I got in a rattle can, and it's come up really good. There's a couple of parts on these wing mirrors I need to just chrome inside there, and the top of the body needs another coat of black. There's a couple of points in a couple of places where the paint scratched off due to me taking it apart and reassembling it and putting it back together. So the fin on the back, the tips need to be recoated. There's a bit by the airbox on the top of the chassis, and I'm going to take the driver out of this and repaint him. So 2 models, one that's been going on in the background and this one that I've kind of tried to document the process on, but as I say, with the Capri, this takes me back to my childhood and early youth, not childhood. It's one of the first cars that I really wanted, and this has turned out to be a fairly decent replica of the car that I had. So there you go. I'll do an update, a final update, once I've got the chassis fitted on the Capri and I've done the highlights and accents for the indicators, brake lights, etc. Okay, thanks for watching. Welcome back, folks. Here we are with the Capri Mark II put back together, and as you can see, since last time, what I have done is just highlighted the indicators on the front and the indicators and brake lights on the back. The rest of it, I've got a feeling I want to leave silver. I just like the look of it. It just feels like it should be. That's the way it should be. So there we go, it's put back together. Oh, one other thing, I did get the M2 washers come through, and as you can see, it's now all bolted back together. So that's one. What I've also done as a bonus car to this video, I've now got the John Player Special put back together as well. And as you can see, even the drivers had a fresh paint, fresh coat of paint. The as I said, the pipework and chassis components were sprayed gold. I have still got to get some labels made, some John Player Special labels made. But again, this is 100 times better than when I first had it. So I'll just move that one out of the way. As far as talking points, faults and problems, I used, before I built this car or refreshed this car, I did try it out. I did try various processes out on another vehicle, which is this Ferrari 512 BB, and it was all going really well. I've used the same paint for both chassis. It almost is a Ferrari red. Well, it looks like a Ferrari red to me. I think it's a gorgeous colour. But when I came to put it put it back together, and I drilled the post holes, I managed to get 3 out of 4 done. And in here is a broken tap, and it's broken in such a way that it's got a point on it that I can't get a drill in to drill it out. So the air turned blue. As you can imagine, I was absolutely furious, but it was a test model. I will work on it at some point to get it try and get that out somehow. If anybody's got any ideas, leave a message in the comments, and we'll try and get that finished off. I'm going to be looking at some point in the near future about getting some decals, some decal sheets, so I can obviously label up some of these vehicles. But for now, that's where we're at. I've had a donation from a member of my family of vehicles that I'm going to be working on. But the next three that I'll be doing as a package will be a Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud from 1985. We've also got a Lesney England Bedford van, and although it's come apart, we're also going to be doing this little tractor that's about to fall to pieces again because I haven't put it together properly. But these have all been drilled out, ready for tapping, drilling and tapping. So we'll follow the progress of these three in the next ruined to refreshed. So there we go. The Capri, one of my favourite cars, as I've mentioned before, if not my favourite car. From ruined to refreshed. PS, I did mention that I would show the paints that I'd used. The matte black is Super Deck spray paint, multi-purpose, and as you can see, hopefully on there, I paid $4.99 for it. The red was also Super Deck, $4.99 again, and the silver was Auto Extreme Silver Wheel spray paint, and I think I paid £2.50 for that. So for 10 quid I've got 3 bottles, 3 rattle cans I can use on a multiple of projects, rather than buying individual little Vallejo or Tamiya paint pots, which would cost me probably 3 times as much. So it's worth just having a scout round. For £5 you can use a can on a donor model and see if it'll do the job for you, and then once you've got a DIY shop, or an Aldi, a Lidl or whatever, where you can get paints from on a regular basis, use them. Don't spend a fortune. You're spending money on wire wheels and wire brushes and Dremels and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just do it a bit at a time. Keep on learning. Don't take. There's always, you tend to find a better way of doing something if you research it enough. And that's what happened with this model. As I say, I mentioned that I used bleach to get the plastic cleaned up, get the chrome laminate removed off there, resprayed, and it come out pretty well. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.